Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. In today's video we have an excellent tutorial video by astrologer Rhonda Buttery titled Solarfire Software, Achieve More from Your Windows Astrology Program. And lastly, if you wish to view our current class, workshop and webinar offerings, please visit KeplerCollege.org. And without further ado, let's get into the video. Although not a consulting astrologer, Rhonda has been working with astrology for over 30 years. She has been a valuable part of the Esoteric Technologies team since 2005 as a sales agent and leading software trainer, and loves helping clients achieve the most from their software, whether it's on Windows, Mac, iOS, or Android. Rhonda is also very involved in the advancement of astrology through both the QFA, which is the Queensland Federation of Astrology, and the FAA, which is the Federation of Australian Astrology, and was recently awarded honorary life membership of the QFA for her outstanding 30+ years of contribution for the betterment of the organization. And you can find out more at astrotech.com.au. So Rhonda, it's always a pleasure to have you here, and I'm going to pass on the baton to you.
Thank you, Callum. Am I ready to start screen sharing? Okay, good morning, everybody, and thank you for being here today. As Callum said, I have been using this software for 30 years, and I've got to tell you, I still find things that I haven't discovered previously. So there's always something more to learn. We've just got an hour and a half today, or slightly less. So I ask you to hold your questions till the end, and I don't look at the chat while I'm working. I focus on what I'm doing with the software. I do suggest, I'm a real fan of taking screenshots. If you see something, some setup that you think would be valuable to keep on your Windows computer, if you hold down the window key and type print screen, so the window key is down the bottom left, the start button, and the print screen is up in the top towards the right-hand side. So that will just take a screenshot and save it in your pictures. It is being recorded, so you can review later on off the Kepler YouTube channel. Let's get going. I like to start by showing you what you're looking at. And even here, we still find things that people aren't aware of or haven't discovered. The first thing you'll see is your Solarfire version, and don't panic, I'm a tester of the latest update. So you should have 9.0.30, and then who the program's licensed to. As with computers everywhere these days, there's at least 3 ways to do most things. So we've got the menu bar, and if you click on any of those words, you've got a whole raft of topics that you can look at all the way across the top. If you hold down your Alt key, you'll see an underscore comes under one of the letters. So if you type that letter, it will then open that menu. Under that, you might have noticed there that you've also got keyboard strokes. Some of them are function keys, some of them are just plain keyboard strokes. So that's another way to get into different things in your program. We've also got a toolbar, and don't panic if yours looks different because this is editable. And I've added a number of things that I use that weren't already there. The time and place bar will tell you where you are, and you tell your program where you are, and then it always knows. Time and date is linked to your computer clock. So if your clock's wrong, your program will be wrong. I also like to work with the current settings bar showing, because I can see at a glance what display points I'm using, what aspect set, what aspected points, and what chart database. There's other things there too, but they're the ones that I'm most particular about seeing. The next box is the calculated charts, and these are the charts that we have open in this session or that have been retained. From up here, you can retain charts that will open when you open your program. And on the other side, the chart preview. And here's something people don't always know. There's different views for your chart preview. You can see just the details. Now I'm right-clicking here in a white space of the window. You can see chart details and comments. You can see the chart wheel, and it will also give you those important comments that let you know some of the important settings you've got set and what the chart is you're looking at. You can also change your preview wheel style. Clicking on this one will take you to the wheel file, and you can choose any uni wheel that you've got in your set. Down the bottom, it's telling me that it's not saved. It's telling me there's no comments attached to this chart, and it's telling me there's no events attached to this chart. When we save comments, and we can do it from here, or we can do it from a number of other places that we'll come to as we get along, it'll tell us how many characters of comments there are and how many live events we've got. Down the bottom, I'll just move my control panel out of the way. Solar Live at the moment will take you to the Solar Fire Facebook group, which is a great resource for people of all levels of knowledge with solar fire. It is solar fire only. It is not an astrology discussion group, and astrology topics will be deleted, as will other advertising, except our own. There's a lot of experienced users on that site, so ask a question and somebody's bound to give you an answer. We keep an eye on it and help it as well. And underneath that, we've got our planet bar, which is where everything is at the moment. Now, if you hover over any of these items, Wake Up Computer, it will tell you, for the first one, it will tell you the lunar phase. No, not playing the game this morning. The moon will tell you when it entered that sign. Oh, there we are, just a bit slow. The moon will tell you when it entered the current sign and when it's going into the next. And now it might show me the moon. No, it's not going to. The sun, it will tell us when it entered the sign, when it's moving on. And the rest of them will tell you whether they're retrograde or direct. Now, the red one, Mercury, is retrograde. The rest are black, so they're direct. And then we have an eclipse button, which will show you the last, if I hold it still, the last and the next eclipse. Most of these can be turned on or off in preferences if you want. So there they are here. This is where you edit the toolbar. And if I was too quick, it was preferences. And now we can edit the toolbar here and we can turn on and off any of those features that I just showed you. Now I'm going to, I've got a pop up. Okay. I like to start with preferences. I like to show you how to make the program your own. And I'm going to go briefly on this, but before I do that, more important is the user guide. Under Help, Solar Fire User Guide is in your computer, and it's also on the download or the CD or the USB, depending on how you ever got your program. And I love electronic user guides because they've got a search and you can find things. One good thing about the Solar Fire User Guide is that it's written by the people who wrote the program, and the people who wrote the program are astrologers. So it's not written in usual boffin tech talk, it's written in astro talk. So we've got a contents, which is set out with different areas for you to click on and have a look at. We've got an index, which is just looking for particular words and things, and the search will let you find anything you want to look for. Always remember that. Also in Help, we have an encyclopedia, which is an astrology encyclopedia, not a solar fire encyclopedia. So if you come across something and you don't know what it is, it's a really good help to have right there. Okay, now back to preferences. I'm going to show you how to edit your settings and make the computer do what you want it to do. I'm not going to go through all of these topics today. I'm just going to go through the most important ones. Now, the first one is the complements. And unless you change this, it will have esoteric technologies if you purchased in Australia or New Zealand, or it will have an Astrolab if you purchased anywhere else. You only have to click in the line and start typing, and you can add your own personal details. You don't have to use every line, but you can use as many of those lines as you want. You won't see your complements on the screen usually, unless you've edited a page to do that, but you will usually see it on your printed page or your print view, unless you've got it hidden. First thing we're going to set is the zodiac. So you can set your default zodiac for tropical, sidereal, or Vedic. Sorry, draconic. I'm reading and talking at the same time. Tropical, sidereal, or draconic. And then you've got other settings related to that. I like to have mine set to use the default zodiac only when casting new charts, not when I'm opening charts, because if I'm trying a different zodiac, I will save the charts in that zodiac and they'll be there. So if I've spent half a day researching draconic charts for the family, the last thing I want is for them not to be draconic when I open them. And it's always a good idea to tick this little box that says warn when using Vedic methods on a tropical chart. Vedic and tropical both work, but they're not mix and match, and you'll end up with a dog's dinner if you're using one on the other. Similarly, our house default gives us the option for tropical houses or for sidereal houses. And again, you've got the choice of using this system only when casting new charts or when opening and closing. And I'm just going to pause a minute on this one. We have a few questions from time to time when people are looking at a composite chart and somebody else has got the same composite chart, but it looks different. This is one of the settings. You can set your anchor. I leave mine on auto anchor and the program goes to the shortest line between 2 points, but you can anchor on the first house or the 10th house. Your chart will look different, but the chart will still work. Calculations. This is where you choose whether you want true node or mean node, whether you want a different day-night or a fixed formula for part of fortune, whether you want true or mean for the black moon, and which void of course rules you want to use. I won't worry about the others. They're a bit beyond what we're doing today. We can add places to the atlas if we need to. There are thousands and thousands of places in the atlas. Some very remote areas don't have a lot of places, but you can add places here using the add button and find any place you want, and then it will add to your favorite. You can also, we do a lot of work out here with people who have farming properties, and some of those are 1 million acres big and not necessarily marked on the atlas. So you can actually add your direct exact physical location. And remember, when you're entering time zone coordinates in solar fire, you must use degrees and minutes. Now, often when you look up a location coordinates in Google, these days, they're usually decimal. You have to specify that you want coordinates in degrees and minutes. And we'll get to entering those in a little while, so I won't go any further here. This is just where you add a place, enter your data, and then select. From here, and other places as well, you can set your default location. So these are 2 places that I use a bit. Brisbane's my default because that's where I live. If I'm moving somewhere and doing a lot of work in one place, I might change the default for the time I'm there so that I don't have to keep changing it. And the little box here will show you your atlas version. It is important that you update your atlas from time to time. Daylight saving is a political decision, and some places they change them as much as you change your underwear. So it's hard to predict what daylight saving is actually going to be all over the world. So I think I need to check for an update myself because I haven't updated since May last year. That will show you where it is, and just to remind you, we're in places in preferences. I like to have the computer look up the time zone on each startup. If it doesn't, it won't automatically change your time zone until you're clicking through. Okay, what else do we need to do today? Here's another one that comes up frequently. My eclipse chart is wrong. Somebody else has got an eclipse and it's 2 hours time difference. The important thing here is, what eclipse time are you using? First of all, make sure your location's right, because different locations will give you different times. We can use the exact lunar phase, which is when the center of the planets align, or we can use maximum eclipse time. Now, for anybody who's watched a lunar eclipse, it takes hours. So the difference between that can be hours. Even on a solar eclipse, it can be minutes. So if you've got a different chart to somebody else, check your settings. Now, if you want to have control over a lot of things, that means there's some choices. Now, I don't know how far along you people are in your astrology or in your use of solar fire, but my recommendation to you is if you don't understand anything on this box, leave it as it comes, because that's a standard setting and that will put you in good stead. As you learn more and do different things, then change more settings if you want to. I will just quickly say that we have a choice of some glyphs, and some very professional astrologers haven't found this one yet. So a different symbol for part of spirit, for Eris, Capricorn, etc. So choose which glyph you like, set it, and you're set. And one more I saw that we need to talk about, and that is stations. This is another one that people get confused about because somebody else said something different. You will show S if you have this box ticked when a planet is stationary, but you can control when you consider a planet to be stationary, with a time span, with a distance, with a speed, or with a relative speed to normal. That will probably do for today. Oh, just one more. You do have the choice of a standard or Bezier progression day rate. Standard is for tropical zodiac, Bezier is for sidereal, and it takes into a slightly different calculation that over a long time would make a difference to your progression. Okay, now let's get actually into using the program. But before I do, there's one more thing I want to show you in preferences. If you've had a field day on your settings and you end up with something that you've got absolutely no idea what it is or how it's working, you can come back to restore settings and it will go back to factory defaults. You might have to reset your complements and you might have to reset some of those preferences that we just went into, but you're only looking at about 5 minutes work there. It won't delete anything. It will just change the settings back to normal. And here's another one that I don't like to have turned on. I like this one off, and that is save settings on exit. If that is ticked, every time you close your program, whatever settings you're using at the time will be saved as the default settings. Now that's too automatic for me. I like to tell the computer when I want to change my settings. So if I deliberately change my settings, I will then go in and click Save Settings. I click OK in the Preferences window and then come out and click Save Settings, and now you've saved your settings. We've covered that, so we can move on now to actually using some charts. The first thing we're going to start with, something else I didn't mention. No, we can cover that later. To create a new chart, again, you can use your chart, you can use your Alt-C, you can use the function key, whatever it is, or you can click on the new chart button and your little window will open. Now, I've got to tell you, I'm lazy. I like to do things quickly and easily, and I don't like doing them multiple times. So what I show you is I've been up a few dry gullies over my time with solar fire. So what you're getting is distilled experience of the easiest way to do things. First of all, you type the name in the box. I suggest the next thing you do is use the tab key on your keyboard to get to the next box. Type in the date, and you'll notice that the date has the months written out. That avoids confusion of whether you're talking about the 4th of May or the 5th of April. And I have actually seen professional, highly respected astrologers spend 10 minutes talking about a chart, and then the person on the webinar said, oh, that's the wrong date. It's the other way around, because different places read the date differently. You don't have to do anything fancy. We can just try to use words. You can, it's good to put a capital because it will remember that. 2000 will do. Now I could do that with numbers and full stops. I can do it with numbers and spaces. When I hit the tab key, it will turn it into the format that it likes. You've also got little buttons here that will turn the day, the month, and the year up and down. Personally, I find that far too fiddly. It's easy just to type the numbers. The tab key will take us to the time, and we can do that with a full stop. It's a good idea to put your AM or PM in, hit the tab key, and we're into the location. Now, I was probably a bit quick for you there for you to see the lookup successful. So I'll do something different. I'll hit in the tab key and I'll type Darwin. Now, I want you to watch here. You'll see the auto lookup is ticked because we did that in preferences. Hit the tab key and you see lookup successful. And that was just tab key from the town to the country or the state. If you're in America, you use the state. Anywhere else in the world, you use the country. And when I hit the tab key, the coordinates look up automatically. And I suggest you let the program do that rather than entering these things yourself, unless, of course, you're creating a place that's not in the atlas. Now, a little word about time zones. Most of you have probably been doing astrology for a little while, but we still get a lot of questions about my chart's wrong because they've entered the time zone manually and not understood the difference between geographical and astrological time zones. Geographically, the time zone is how far ahead or behind you are from universal time. Astrologically, it's how long it's going to take you to get to universal time, which is the exact opposite. So my time zone is +10, but if I enter in +10 into the astrology, it'll put me in Hawaii. So let's go back to Brisbane. Hit the tab key and my program has looked up exactly what it's supposed to be. Pardon me. I was going to say something else. From here, this is another place that you can save your default place. So whatever place you've got here at the time, when you click save, it will come back to your default place and restore will take me back to the restored place. This is another place we can add comments on the chart. So this is a class for Kepler. Save. And now I've got some 16 characters of comments. I can also add life events here. So we want to add a new one and we'll just add. From here, I can export all of these events to their own chart file. I think that's pretty super. I'd only been using the program 28 years when I discovered that one. And we can also import a chart file here, and we'll see more about chart files directly. I'm going to OK that. So now we've got 7 life events. They're all dummy. It is important to check this box. For a person or a company, you really need to have unspecified male or female so you get natal orbs. If you're using event or horary, you will get transit orbs, and usually they're much smaller. It doesn't matter whether it's unspecified or male or female. These are my default settings that we set up in preferences before we started. The house system is Placidus, but for this chart, I can make it anything that's available in the system, and you'll see there's quite a few available, including Sun on the 1st. I can also change the zodiac here to anything that's available, and I can also change the coordinate system from geocentric to heliocentric. Geocentric is Earth-centered, and the Earth is the center wheel in the chart. Heliocentric is from the sun, and it does give you a slightly different perspective. Some things work better heliocentrically, some things work better geocentric. If we're talking about people, we're living on planet Earth, so doing geocentric gives us the world from our own personal view. It's also useful to enter your source rating, and we use the lowest Rodden source rating here. Now, I know this one's AA because I just made it up. And it's a good idea to add your source description. Again, when you're comparing charts with somebody else, it will tell you, if you've entered it, how reliable your data is. Was it your second cousin's nephew who told you the information? Did you find it in the family Bible? Did you find it on the birth certificate? Now, just another minute about time zones. In America, in a lot of places, well, in a few places, birth certificates have to be registered with regular time, regardless as to whether the location is currently using daylight time or not. And there's a lot of confusion because if it's not noted or described, people forget and don't know, and there's often conflict. And that puts your chart out by an hour, which means your ascendant's going to be wrong and can even be a whole different sign. Okay, now if I'm doing a number of charts, OK More will create my chart and leave the window open so I can carry on and make another chart. One thing you do have to be careful of is that you're not copying chart comments or chart events over to your next chart. And some of these things that you set might still be there. So do tab through everything and just make sure that we've cleared that and cleared that. You can multi-select there. I'm just being lazy. When you've finished with your second chart or the last one you want to do, click OK. The box will go away and there's your chart. Now we've got our chart. You can just double click on it to open it, or you can go up to your view menu and decide what you want to look at. You can also use your buttons if you want to use a single chart, a chart and a grid, or if you want a couple of charts, how you want them to be. Once we've got some charts, we can open them and find them from the system. So this one is just one that comes with the program and I haven't used. Now I'm going to do rule 1 now, and I will do this a few times because it needs to be emblazoned in your brain. Don't edit anything that comes with the program, and don't save charts in files that come with the program, with the exception of My Family or My Charts. The reason is they are part of the system, and when you update your program, they will be overwritten. So if you've put all your charts in one of the famous people charts that come with the program, you'll lose them unless you're very careful with the way you update. With the open chart menu, you can click on the down arrow and see the last 10 chart files you had open. You can also click on other files. You can also click on the button file and it will straight away open your chart database. Now, charts, you don't save charts as a thing in themselves. The chart is actually a string of text within a chart file. And the esoteric chart files are all .sfcht. All our software will talk to each other as far as charts are concerned, even though the computers won't talk to each other. The chart files will. So you can use these charts in your phone, in your Mac, in your Windows, in your Solar Writers, in your Jigsaw. The whole range can be used across the board. Okay, now if we're going to open a chart file, let's go with one that does come with the program. We'll try music and dance today, and we'll select that folder. There's a lot here. First of all, it tells you what the chart file is called, how many charts are there, how many are highlighted, and there's the list. We can also preview any of these charts just by clicking on the preview button, and you can make that big or small by dragging on the corner. We can also search all the files in the computer, and that's this button here. Not just the one you're looking, not just the file you're looking at, but your whole database. I can't see a clock. Half an hour, okay. The last search we looked for was silver. Somebody wanted the chart for trading silver. I entered silver, click OK, and now it searches my whole database, which is some 14,000 charts, and brought up everything that had silver in the title. You don't have to use the full name. In fact, it's better if you don't, because the string has to be exact. Capitalization doesn't matter, but the letters and the spaces and any characters have to be exact. So if you're wanting Johnson and you don't know whether it's Johnson, Johnstone, or Johnston, just type Johns and it'll find them all. Now from here, we can copy any of these charts by highlighting them and copying. We can send them to email. Now, if your email is web-based and you use it on the internet rather than through a program in your computer, it won't actually make an email. So I use Outlook on my computer, so clicking email will open Outlook and make an email with the charts attached. From here, I can print any, and I can multi-select. You'll often find little clues on the bottom of your window. So if I hold down the Control key and click, I can multi-select. If I want to select them all, click on the first one, hold down the Shift key and click on the bottom one. I can print the same way, any or all. I can open them from here as well. And we've got a preview button here too. So it's not going to show you all of them at once, but it will show you as you flick through them. Okay, I can print the details, and I can print the details of everything or just a basic list. And if you're going to print the whole file with all comments, I suggest you pack up the paper because it will take a bit of paper. You can select charts or you can choose all charts. From here, we can also delete a chart, but this is one that comes with the program, so I'm not going to delete it at all. We can copy, we can edit, we can send it somewhere, email, export, add it to the birthday reminders. We can open the charts or we can open and view. Open, we'll put them in the calculated charts box. Open and view, we'll open them in the view window. And here we see our events and our comments. I've got the back. No, that's the right way. Events at the top and comments at the bottom. Now, if you want to edit and add details to some of these files that come with the program, I suggest you copy the charts and save them in a project file, and then you can do what you like with those. You won't be losing your work. File management is very important, in my opinion. The more orderly you keep your files, the easier it is to find things, although you can search all files and find things. If you're working on a project, it certainly helps to have those files together. If I want to copy files to someplace else, holding down the Control key will let me random select, copy. Now the program will say, where do you want to copy them to? I might create a new folder, or I might use one that I've already got. And I think I've got a project up here. That takes too long. Let's make a new one. Create, give it a good name. I like to put an underscore in the front of the files that I create. Then I know it's mine and I'm safe to edit it or play with it if I want to. So we're doing Sunday today. Okay. And there's my underscore Sunday in alphabetical order. Select, and now those records are ready to copy. Now, I was paying attention, so I don't need to confirm each one individually. They're all copied. Now, if I'm just copying charts for a project, I'm done and can leave here. If I'm cleaning up my chart files and putting charts where they need to be, I can now delete them from here if I want to. Down the bottom, we can find something within this chart file, and that's all the things you can look for: a name, a comment, all sorts of things. You can select all the charts, or you can clear that selection. You can reverse the chart name, so their first name first or last name first, and you can change the sort order from A to Z or Z to A. If you click on the heading, you'll see mine is now alphabetical order. If you click on the heading, it will now become file order, and that's the order in which the charts were added to the program. If you've been trying to rectify a chart and you end up with 6 charts for somebody who keeps changing their birth time, you might want to find easily which one was the last one if they've all been saved. The next heading will file by date order, and that's the date on the chart, not the date it was created. You can also sort by chart type. I find alphabetical works well, and we'll leave that there. Here's the button where you edit the events or whether you edit the comments, but again, only on a chart in your chart file. Okay, let me check how I'm going for time. Okay. We're going to go now into view. There's something else I needed to show you on preferences. It'll have to come back to me. To open the chart, you can double click here, or you can, as I said, go to view and look at what you want to look at. When the view, it will show you the last 10 pages that you had open. You can go to your page topic index and look at all the options. Once you get into the view chart, it'll only let you see what you've got selected. So if you've only got one chart, it will only show you a uni wheel. There's a few other bits and pieces down here that we can look at that are really interesting. Planetarium will show you the sky. Stellarium is a free program that shows you, it's an astronomy program. It's absolutely fantastic. And if you've ever done anything with Gemini Brett, you'll see how he uses it for looking at different places and different times. I can get into solar maps from here. Nova chart wheels, if you've got that on your computer, and a Sabian oracle. It's like drawing a card for the moment. Okay, let's get into the chart, and I'll just double click and it will open with my default uni wheel page. If that's looking too busy, I think the chart's big enough. Now we can set chart options from here in the menu bar, or we can get into there by right-clicking in a white area of the chart. Now, all of these options I can also change from here. I can change my displayed points by clicking on planets there, and it'll show you, and just choose whichever one I want. All of these destinations work much the same. You'll see what you're looking at. You'll see where it's located in your computer. If there is a description in the file, it will show you here. You can also go to someplace else in your computer. I didn't want to go there. We'll go back to, and my view page has just minimized itself, so I can click it back up from here and move it up the page. So right-click will take me into chart options. Displayed points will let me choose what displayed point set I'm using. And once again, if the set doesn't have what you want, create a new one or copy it. Don't edit the one that comes with the program. And especially make sure you give them a name that describes what is there. Now, if you look at some of my names, you'll see that I can tell exactly what they are. And I suggest you name files in a fashion that you will recognize what it is after you've been in a coma for 6 months. When you're working on a project, it's in your face. You know, it's there, that's fine. I'll never forget this. 6 projects later, come back and think, what on earth was that? And it can actually take you longer to figure out what it is than it took you to do it in the first place. And as I said before, I'm not into wasting time or doing things over again. So here we've got, this is a set for Veronica. There's the Uranian and personal points. That's my file with Uranian and Uranian personal points. Planets, Earth, no moon. Make sure you clear what it is. So if you want, and make sure that you don't ever save anything in your none file. You need your none to have nothing in it. Now, if you want to look at something that comes with the program, edit will let you see what's there. And yes, we've done very well. There's nothing in the none file. If I want to edit one that's mine, and this is one I've been playing with in class because it says Thursday, which is a stupid name if it's something serious. So from here we can edit and see what's there. And the points on the left are the ones that are selected and they've got a white background. The points on the right are available and they're unselected. So all I have to do is click on it and it moves over to the other side. And if I decide I didn't want those, click on them and they'll go back. I don't know what the other one was, but it doesn't matter. If I'm saving it, click save and it's saved. If I'm just looking, cancel out and it's cancelled. No, I don't want to save my changes for now. So very cleverly make sure that I'm not making a mistake. I can rename any of these files if I want, and if I decide they're absolute rubbish, I can delete them. Yes, I want to permanently delete that one. Giving them stupid names when I'm doing classes makes it very easy for me to clean up my files because those that are important have sensible names that describe them. Okay. Also from here, we can set our displayed user-defined points. And these are extra points that you can put in your wheel. If you want to put Melanie Reinhardt's centaurs, there they are in the wheel. Do we have time to do that today? User-defined points. If you want to make a new set, create, give it a name, and now there's its name we want to edit. So what do I want to add? I can add points, and it's not a good idea to add points that you've already got as your displayed points. Otherwise, you'll have them twice, and you don't really need them twice in the chart, apart from cluttering things up. We have a range of midpoints. We have fixed positions. Well, you make your own fixed position, but we have the option of fixed position. We can add fixed stars. We can add Arabic parts, asteroids, extra bodies, prior lunar phases, prior eclipses, and planetary nodes. They all work the same way. Click on what you want, click add. Some of them have got good symbols, some of them have got stupid symbols. So if you look at your fixed stars, you're going to get star, and then you're going to get star 2, star 3, which to my way of thinking is a bit stupid. So I click on the planet and give it an abbreviation of my own. I click on this one and give it an abbreviation of my own. Now, we will go more into this when we're doing the workshop. Today's an introduction, and there will be a bit more depth in actually working with these in that series. So when I'm done, I save, and now I select, and now I've got those ones that I just created. There's my south node of Mercury. There's my star that I gave my own abbreviation, and there is Sirius. Okay, and they will stay on until I go back and make it none. You can have up to, I think, up to 50 points in your wheel. After that, you need to go to extra ring points when your points will be displayed around the wheel. Now, because I've already got my chart open, it's not going to automatically give me an extra wheel. I'm going to have to change it because this page has been told which wheel I want, and that will stay there. So let's go back out, make some extra ring points, and choose one. Asteroid glyphs will do. And now when I'm going to open my chart, it should open. Now it's gone to my default. So let's go to another page and find an extra. So I want a page that's got extra, uni extra, and now I've got my extra ring points. And you'll see they're around the wheel. So if you want to know what asteroids are applicable to a client, we can see that none of these are. So we don't want any of those. We don't want any of these, maybe the ascendant, and we don't want anything here. From that, you can see what set of points you want that are relative to the chart, and you can save that set as the client's name, so you know anytime you're working with them, you can bring up their own set. On a extra ring page, you will usually find what the point is, if it's got a glyph, where it is, its declination, and its full name. And if I want to go back to where I was, click on the up here in the top right, it will take me to anywhere that I've been today. Displayed transiting points, I often use all of them because they won't be used if they're not also display points. Extra ring, we've done that. Aspect set is where you edit your aspect set. Let's pick one that I can play with. We'll go to, is there a weird one there? No. Let's make a new one. So we'll create one. Sunday will do. And the aspects that are ticked with a little plus will be selected. If I want to turn them off, highlight it and disable. if I want to edit my set, did I click create or did, yes, I did. So this is my own set. I can give it a little description if I want to. And now I can edit my orbs if I want to. So we just click and type and tab, type and hit the tab key, type and hit the tab key, type and hit the tab key. We have got the option of having separate orbs for applying and separating luminaries, that's the sun and the moon, or applying and separating other planets. We can also set our own progress rate. The default is 1 degree and the same for transits. If you're not sure what to do yet, leave it as it is, and then when you study further and want to do something different, change it then. Down the bottom, we also have parallel and contraparallel, which is related to the declination, and they can be turned on or off as well. Okay. When you're done, click save, and now it's a set, another set, so I can save that one. And now I've got a new set here that I can choose anytime I want. The reason you'd have different ones is because for different things you want different aspect sets. You might want wide, you might want sign only, you might want out of sign aspects, and you get those choices. Okay, what else do we have to look at here? Oh yes, we have to look down here. Aspected points, I usually use all. Actually, I said that for transiting, but that's wrong. It was for aspected points. I have all of them because they'll only be aspected if they're also transiting and displayed. From here, we can set our default wheel style for the uni wheel, for a bi-wheel, for a tri-wheel, and same for the dial. There's also some good display options here. I work with proportional houses on because I like a house to look like the size it is. You'll see they look pretty much even, don't they? Have we got if you've got a whole sign or an equal house, you're not going to see the difference. I don't know if they're the same or not, 5, 6, 8. So theoretically, well, this is 5 to 6 and this is 6 to 8. So that house will be a little bigger. Doesn't look much because they're very similar in size. I also like to work with house expansion on. That's the second one down here. And you can see that second house here has got a lot of things in it and they don't fit. And I was actually watching a professional presentation the other day, and some planets were out of house and the presenter said, oh, these ones are actually in this house, but they just don't fit. So we fix that by having house expansion. The line in the house circle and the line at the outer circle is true. And then it stretches, just like an expanding door, to encompass anything that should be in that house. Now, some people can recognize numbers and see straight away that they're in or out of the house. I can't. So I really like having the house expansion on. I like the computer to do as much work as it can. Something I didn't say on display options, on proportional houses, some wheels don't do proportional houses. So don't get concerned if you change to proportional and nothing changes. You can change your wheel style, which will make that difference. We can turn aspect lines on and off, and we can turn the glyphs on and off. And of course, the glyphs will only show if you've got the lines. One of my favorite features is the aspect highlighting and filtering. Now, I've got no highlighting on at the moment, but if I have relative tightness of orb, it's going to make my tighter aspects thicker and my wider aspects lighter. I can also have applying and separating looking different. By having this ticked on, you'll see the solid lines are applying aspects and the dotted lines are separating aspects. They've already happened. So you can see straight away the most important aspects are solid and thick, and the least important are thin and dotted. So straight away, you can focus on what's most important. You can control how thick, how thin by adjusting these little options here. But my really favorite feature is the filtering. Now I can filter by an aspect. So I can just look at one aspect at a time. And once one of them is selected, using the down arrow on my keyboard will go to that aspect, and that's all you can see. We can sort by aspect pattern. So if you want to find your T-squares, grand trine, everything's in one place at the moment, so it's not going to show us any patterns. But when you've got planets all over the place, you'll actually see the shape happening. We can filter by chart point. So we can show all the aspects to the sun, to the moon. Sorry, that was Mercury. Moon's first. Moon, sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, etc. I've got mine set to auto apply, which is why you can see it changing when I'm clicking without going in and out of the filtering box. And I've also got it set to switch filtering off after close. Now, for those of you who do any presenting, if you're looking at something like this, I actually saw one presenter quite some time ago do their picture, go into their preferences, change their settings, open it up, do their picture. All she had to do was change to what she wanted and do a screenshot or take a picture or cut it. She didn't have to keep going and changing all the sets and changing things. This is what I mean by letting the computer do the donkey work, and that leaves you the time to do the astrology. By having it switched off, it'll go back to normal when I come out. So I've still got my highlighting on because I wanted that to stay. Now, where do we go next? We're finished. Somebody asked me about color scheme. This is where you change your color scheme. There are a number of schemes already in the system, but you can make your own and edit your own. I'm just going to touch on this today. We'll go into that more fully when we're into the workshop series. Just be aware that you've got screen colors and printer colors. And if you want to change them, you have to change both sets. And once you start changing things, the name will go out, prompting you to save as your own set and give it a good name. Okay, that's all we need to do there. Once you're in your wheel, we've got a number of options down here. Somebody asked me this week about information about the chart. Here you are in reports, and at the top right, you'll see all the reports you can generate. And here you can see some tables that are about the chart. This is where we have zodiacal releasings. This is where we have declinations and astrodynes. I will leave you to explore that and find all the things you can find, because we'll be here for a couple of hours going through them all. If you've made some changes to your set and it hasn't picked up, just click redraw and it will refresh the screen. We can view by wheel or dial, and the dial will show you midpoints. If you want to adjust your chart, the rectify button will let you change all of these options, and you can apply them to the chart. We can save our chart from here as well, and you can save from your main window as well. Up here is my save button. From here, we can print. Set up your printer so it's going to the right place and doing the right thing. Choose your grayscale or color. And you can also view your print page down here. At the moment, we're looking at the screen page. The next button will show you the print page, which is usually different because the proportions are different. And we can zoom in and look in more detail with a scrollable page on the last button. So you'll see the pages are different, just like there was something else we did that was different for print and view, or the colors different for print and view. If you're going to edit your page, you'll need to edit the screen and the printer page if you want them both changed. From here, we can animate the chart, and we can use clock, which will be real-time clock, and we'll just tick clock at real time, or we can go to animate. We can set the time, we can auto DST, and we can change the location. Stepping will move the chart on by whatever time frame I've got here. The arrow without a bar will just click through at that rate, and if that's too fast, I can make it slower. And that'll go till I tell it to stop. And if I want to go back to where I was, all I have to do is go back to clock, which will take me right back to here and now, and then we can move again. We've got a print option, we've got chart option, which will let us open any chart we've got open already, and we can change the page. We can also add this chart that I've just adjusted to our calculated charts list. If you want to have your natal chart and the transits actually animating around it, we go to Dynamic, Animate by Wheel. Now, it looks very similar, but we've got the natal chart in the middle and we've got the transits around the outside, and you'll see that the middle chart doesn't move, but the outer chart moves at the correct rate. If you want to look at your secondary progressions on that as well, we'll go to Dynamic, Animate, Tri-Wheel. And again, we've got the natal, we've got the secondary progressions, and we've got the transits, and they all move at their correct rate for what they are. But wait, there's more. And it's not a set of steak knives. We're now going to animate quad wheel, and we've got our transits, our secondary progressions, our solar arc directions, and our, I said the wrong thing, natal, secondary progressions, solar arc directions, and transits. And again, they all move at their correct rate. You can also create your own Animate page, which is a bit beyond what we're doing right now. Hopefully we'll cover that in the workshop courses as well. Those of you who also use Astro Gold will recognize that I have replicated those gorgeous colors for each chart type. And I really like that, because when you swap your charts around, you don't have to study the descriptions to know which chart it is. Going back to our main chart, we can also change the wheel style. And when you click on that button, it shows you all the wheel styles that are available. So you just have a look at them all. And because I'm looking at a uni wheel, it's only showing me uni wheel. It's not showing me any bi wheels or tri wheels. Oh, somebody asked about terms or decans or something. That's where you go here. Here we've got the, what's it called? Egyptian terms, Ptolemaic terms. We've also got decans, deck ruler. So you've got a whole, you've already got wheels for that. If you're teaching, you can do a blank wheel. You can have a no houses wheel. No houses somewhere. Maybe it's called something else. And we've also got a zodiac and constellation wheel. So you can see the tropical zodiac and the constellations. We've got a zodiac numeric wheel. That might not be in your system. You'll have to go to Esoteric website, which is esotech.com.au, and go to support, tech help, and Steffi's designed a couple of extra wheels and features and sets that you can download to your computer. It doesn't matter where you bought your solar fire, they will work. There's we've got one for an untimed, so you don't have any, oh, they don't have any houses. So an untimed chart will let you, I don't know why the number, oh, it's just the wheel style. It tells me uni extra. These names usually have sensible names so that you can see what they are. That's where you find the one without houses. It's just called an untimed chart. That's all I need to do there. I'll escape from there without changing anything. And we can also select different pages. That's the beginner page, which tells you what the squiggles are. That's one I've edited, of course, because it's got the underscore. See how useful that is? We've got the one I'm using at the moment. We've got the begin one that comes with the program. We've got one with information in the middle of the wheel. If you're going to use one of those, it's a good idea to turn your aspect lines off. We've got a wide wheel, a lotus wheel, and we have the most beautiful chart art. Let me just move that over so we can see it. These are just lovely when you're doing any of the reports. And some of them have got the gemstone of a sign. There's so many of them, you could spend half a day playing with them. Let me cancel that and go back to where we were. Now, how much time have I got? Just after 9. We're just touching the surface here today. There's much, much more in the program, and I suggest you play with it. You can't break it. Go looking at all of the options in your menu, interpretations, reports, chart options, utilities. Backing up's important. There is a backup facility in utilities. Personally, I prefer to do it this way. I go to File Explorer, and to get, if it's not on your toolbar, hold down the window key and type E, and it will take you to Chart Explorer. Your SolarFire user files will be in C documents. Down here, SolarFire user files. Plug in a memory stick into your computer and just drag the file to the memory stick file, and you're done. That's all you have to do. One further step I would suggest is that I don't want it there, so I'll put it back, is that when you've copied it, after the name, add the date so you know which file it is. You'll see there's 4 lots of backups here. So I know immediately what they are. That's the date. That's before we were doing updates and playing with different things on the computer. So they're all there. Now, these are on the computer because they're ones I'm working with, but my backup is off the computer. And please don't confuse synchronizing with backing up. Synchronizing is making the same. So if you're synchronizing your chart somewhere and some of it get lost off one place, they'll get lost off the other. Backing up is saving it to somewhere totally separate. And it's important. I've had clients who've lost 30 years, professional astrologers who've lost 30 years of data. That is a disaster. I'm going to quickly show you the maps, and this is a whole class in itself. Maps is useful for astrocartography. Let me just go back. Okay, that's as far back as we're going. And all we're looking there is the horizon and the ecliptic. So we've got all the usual things for astrocartography, which I'm not going to go into today. I'm just showing you they're there. We can move location. We can relocate the chart. We can print off a little report of what changes in the chart. What you're seeing at the moment is for this particular natal chart, which is Joe Blow's chart. We're looking at what planets would be on the midheaven in different parts of the world. So for Joe, Mars would be on the midheaven anywhere down this line. That's the only line I've got showing. No, it's not. I've got the descendant showing as well. Down the bottom, we can see that Mars is on the IC anywhere along this line. And then there's all sorts of other lines that you can add as well. But that's for another day. No, I don't need to save the chart. Thank you. Another of my very favorite features is the graphic ephemeris. That one will do. There are a number of sets that come with the program. Choose the one that's closest to what you want. If it's not what you want, change it and adjust it. And somebody asked me about entering and leaving. No, that must have been on the reports, not on the graphic ephemeris. Of course, it's not going to show you entering and leaving. We can also do a declination here. We can do a graphic ephemeris by declination, by longitude, or by latitude. Declination will show you where a planet is in and out of bounds for a time period. We can change the angle. I could make that 90%, which would drop out the semi-squares and the sesquiquadrates. I can turn any of these on and off. I can relocate it, tell it when to start and when to finish. And obviously, the more things you've got, the shorter time frame you want, because you're just going to get too busy. I can change my transiting planets. I can add extra transiting planets, and I can change my planets, my natal planets. When I'm done, view the report, and there's our sphere opened out to a tube and opened out to a flat page. Now, on the right-hand side, before we get to the right-hand side, the dots across the page are the natal planets, and they're static. They don't move. Here's your natal planets down the side with their sign. What you're actually looking at is a chart cut into 8, and it's 8 because it's 45 degrees, cut into 8 pieces and overlaid on each other, which brings conjunction squares and oppositions together. So from the left, we've got the transiting planets coming in. Here's Uranus in Taurus, and it's just messing around with the natal Saturn in Taurus. And here it goes. It's conjunct the planet exactly here. And you'll see that that is on the 28th of February, 24. Saturn moves on, and now it's going to square Uranus over here. And on and on. When it gets to here in September, it's going to go retrograde, so it'll be running up the page. Now it's going down the page again, and we've got a blue dot here. The blue dot is the same color as the line, and that means that Uranus is changing sign. You'll see sign changes at 0, 15, and 30 because we're working on a 45-degree modulus. The beauty of looking at the graphic ephemeris is you can see when a lot of stuff's happening. Now, this person has got Neptune, Mercury, and Moon very tightly aspected. They're not all conjunct because you can see they're in different signs. But when these 3 planets come dancing around it, we've got Jupiter, we've got Saturn, and we've got Pluto. Dancing around those planets there, that's going to be a very active time, because anytime it hits one that's close, it's going to hit the other. So we get they'll be square, won't they? Oh, that's too hard for now. When we get to here, it's going to be bang, 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 all at the same time. And there's only 2 degrees difference between the beginning and the end. So they're going to be hit up at the same time badly. If I want to look at 2 years on, not necessarily 2 years. If I want to look at the next time frame, and it'll be the same time frame I'm looking at now, right click will move me forward 2 years. Left click will move me back 2 years. Now, those planets and planetary lines are the set that I set up in my colors. And it makes it easy to see what's doing what when you've got some colors. You can print this, of course. It'll tell you what you're looking at, and it'll tell you what chart you're using at. I can copy it to paste it into an email or a document, or I can just plain print it out on a piece of paper. And it's really handy to look at these major things happening on the wall. Once I've decided that, yes, that's what I want, if I've made any adjustments, I can now save that selection, give it a good name, and it'll be there when I want it again. You'll see there's one saved here. No, there's not. I had a whole restart recently, and I haven't imported the ones I've saved myself. We've got all sorts of things that we can do here. And my throat's starting to give me a problem. We also have the cup, which will show you your transits, and you can look at a day, a week, a month. You can print this off and you can export it to your electronic calendar. It will give you moon plantings and it will give you void of course. Callum, how many questions have we got?
3,000. Because it's so good.
All right, before we go to the questions, I'll just show you two more features, but I won't explore them in depth because they're pretty full. The first one is the eclipse search, which will let you find any eclipse anytime by clicking the search button once you've set up what you want. That's looking at all solars, all lunars, all Saros, which you'd never really want to look at anyway, but you can refine it down, and you can refine it to only show you as eclipses that aspect the natal chart that you're looking at. The other thing is our search. Now we've got an electional search, which will find things in the sky, and we've got a chart search, which will find charts that have certain criteria. Clicking on the button, and this one you could lock yourself away for 3 weeks and still not discover everything in this setting. We have got all these conditions to look at for the program to search. Select what you want, click add, and then it will find what you want. We do have and or, so that you can find a chart that's got either this or that, or a chart that's got this and that. And this is how you'd set up to find all your retrogrades, which are hidden cleverly. Consideration? No, coordinates. When the longitude is equal to or less than 0, and you've got different characters here to set it, set your planet, set the speed, longitude speed, and that will tell you if it's less than 0, it's going retrograde. If it's close to 0, it's stationary. We can find planets in signs, we can find aspects, we can find phases, we can find position. So we won't take another hour exploring this. It's there, play with it. When you want to delete anything, just delete it. If you work up a set like retrograde for every planet, again, save it. Wrong place, save to file. Well, it's not going to save now because there's nothing there. So I can save it to file, and then when I want to use it again, I just clear what's already there and add from file, and it'll go into my files and find the set that I want. Okay, now, as I said before, we barely scratched the surface today, but hopefully you've found something that you didn't know, or found something that you can do more easily. We can find transits, progressions, and directions reports under chart. You can find returns and ingresses. You can find harmonics and transformation charts or combined charts. They open up in a window very similar to the graphic ephemeris. And yeah, I can't count. I'm up to 3 features, I know. And here's all of your options. Sometimes you've got an option down here, so there's more to look at. Just play with it. Okay, do we want to do some questions now, Callum?
Wonderful, Rhonda. Thank you so much for an excellent demonstration with invaluable information. Absolutely wonderful. Would you like to take off your screen share? We'll put up your screen of the contact information.
Yep, that's fine.
Wonderful. Let me just share the screen here.
Oh, we've got some from
I'm
Australia.
jump in and maybe try to get the first question in because a few people have asked. Sorry. So Rhonda, we have a code for Astro Gold, but I'm realizing that I can't find a code through Esotech for Solar Fire. Is there supposed to be one? Or
You won't, because we can only sell, so since we sold Solar Fire to Astrolab, we can only sell Solar Fire in Australia and New Zealand. In America and other places, you have to go to Astrolab. Now, my code that my Kepler people have a code which will do Solar Fire or Astro Gold, but it will only let you purchase it in Australia or New Zealand.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
And
So-
it's the same. The code is Kepler20 on my Astrotech webpage, which is here, www.astrotech.com.au. The code for Kepler is Kepler20, which
And
is
you
a
said that's
20%.
for people in Australia and New Zealand?
It's for Solar Fire, it's for Australia and New Zealand. For all our other products, it's anywhere in the world.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, audience, is I do have a code for Astrolab. I'll put that in the chat. So now that I've clarified that, I will go ahead and put that in. Thank you, Rhonda.
Okay. I'd like to draw your attention to this item here. I'm not sharing, so you won't see my mouse. The YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel, and so does Esotech. They're pretty much the same. There are a lot of little 10-minute videos on different aspects of the program. They're arranged by playlist for software. So there's a whole playlist for Solar Fire, and there's also one there that tells you how to get around. Sorry, I was reading and trying to talk at the same time. How to get around the OneDrive issue. When 9.1 is released, you won't have an issue because you can save your stuff anywhere, and SolarFire will know where it's saved, whether it's in OneDrive or someplace else. Okay, ready for questions?
Wonderful. And let me just say, when you watch the replay on our YouTube channel, you can pause the video, take any screenshots that you need. Also on YouTube, if you're not familiar, you can also play the video at half speed, which will slow down the video if you need to, take your time and go through the information. And also we'll put a link. I think Laurie's been brilliant putting the links in for the workshop that's coming up. And I believe, what was it again, Rhonda? It was be on the 1st, the 8th, and the 15th. Is that correct?
And the 15th of June. Yes.
And
that's not at 6 o'clock my time. I think that's about 8 o'clock my time, which is, I think, about 3 p.m. Pacific. It's on the information anyway.
Wonderful. And if you can't make those dates or those times, then the recordings will be there as well. But if you can make it live, that's where, Rhonda, you'll be able to answer maybe more specific questions as well as you go through. And
some of the things we touched on today, we'll go into more depth. Obviously, we'll be covering most of what we did today because there will be people who've never seen it, and you have to cater for everybody. I'm planning that there's enough time for questions. And my time, I've not locked it straight into 90. So if we do the session and then there's people want questions, I've got time available to extend into question time if we need it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So you let us know there is about 3001 questions as someone put in the chat. So you let us know when you're done with questions. And in the sense of fairness, I think we'll go in a fairly chronological order as this has come through. So let's see, the first question here, and there's actually a couple of the same ones here. How do you update the atlas in places?
Okay, you go to either astrolab.com or you go to esotech.com and you look for program patch updates and you look for Atlas for SolarFire 8 and 9. Download it and run it. Make sure you close your program before you try and install it. So that's it. It's that simple.
Wonderful. Thank you. Question here. I just put my Solar Fire last Friday. I'm on version 9.0.25. How do I update it to your version?
Same place, same way. Astrolab, you obviously didn't buy it from Australia because we're doing 0.30 on our new supply. If you bought it from Astrolab, go to alab.com and again go to support updates. You'll find it in the banner. You can also update. It doesn't matter where you bought it from. You can update from anywhere, and that's esotech.com.au or alab, ALABE.com.
Wonderful, thank you. And forgive me, Rhonda, if you've answered some of these questions. I've been distracted with all the chat boxes. So one question here, once you reset your house settings, for example, Regiomontanus, is there a way to manually change all charts saved previously to be switched to the Regiomontanus?
When we were looking at preferences and we chose the house system, there was an option there to use that house system for only for new charts or for new and open charts. So that will change it. You probably have to resave them if you want them saved that way, but it will open them that way.
Wonderful. Next question. How would you know if it's a city in the US that doesn't record in DST?
Oh, it's a government issue. It's beyond our capacity. There's one that's particularly a problem, and I can't think which one it is now. One that tends to be the north. Look up government website for when they did what and ask Google the question. You know, Mrs. Google knows just about everything.
Great advice. Another question here. Someone would like to know how you can, if you can put an image in the center of a chart. They're saying, I'm not sure if this can be done. You can? Okay.
Yes, you can. Yes. When we were looking at the colors, do you want me to go back onto screen share and show you that?
That'd be great. Yeah, let me take mine off so you can go back to yours.
When we were looking at colors, now I've got to remember where it is. Oh, preferences, chart options. Here we go. In color scheme, wake up. There must be a dialogue. It's already there. It's hidden behind my question and answer box. Down here, you've got the option to add a background graphic. You do have to play with the size of it. I suggest you turn off your lines. You don't need that. Click on background graphic. You can find any picture in your computer. Play with it till you get the right size. Turn off your aspect lines and then you can place it in the middle. You'll probably do better to design a page to do that so that everything is fixed and doesn't change when you're changing sizes and so forth. We'll probably get deeper into that in the workshop, but remember your help guide will tell you how to do a lot of things as well. Solify cannot be used on Chromebook. Solify is a Windows program and it needs to run on a device which will run Windows programs and not just Microsoft ones that will only play Microsoft. Okay, I'll let you take the colors because I've just take the questions. I've just jumped in somewhere. And
oh, sure, that's fine. Someone's asking here, yeah, how to set colors and view page. I'm not sure if
well, here you are. This is how you set your colors. We've just done that one.
Let's see. If I've changed to a new computer recently, how can I carry my created Solify files across? So moving over.
Covered that in the backup. So you'll install the program. You don't just copy programs over. You have to install programs so they get to where they have to be and everything's in the right place. Then you copy your Solify user file. And we did that before. Am I still on screen share? Now we go to, yes, let me get that out of the way. We go to Documents, Solify user files, copy it to a memory stick. Install Solify on your new computer, plug in the memory stick and copy that to the same location. C drive, documents, just there. And that's got your charts, the pages, the wheels, everything you've edited and changed.
Wonderful. And again, forgive me if you've answered some of these questions. I'm just going through here. You've answered how to update the atlas, how to add the lot of spirit.
As a display point, chart options. Hang on, I've got to close that one. chart options, display points. No, it would be an extra point, wouldn't it? So we're going into, not chart options, we're going into, let me get the right one, cancel that. We're going into chart options, displayed user defined points, edit or create. There's that one I did this morning. It was Sunday, wasn't it? Edit. And there's your Arabic parts. Click whichever one you want and move it across, and there it is. That's the part of life. Fortune. You've got a number of sets to choose from. So if it's not in this one, look at one of the others. Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Someone's saying here, I installed Solar Fire onto my new computer 3 years ago, but I don't have the famous people. How can I get these?
You don't. That's interesting. If you email me, I'll send it to you.
Wonderful.
That's rhonda@astrotech.com.au.
Fantastic. Thank you. Is it possible to display fixed stars that has extra ring points?
Yep. Yep. We did that. That question must have come in before we did it.
Oh, sorry. So that one's been
Right.
answered. Let me see. Some of the things I'm doing, for example, trying to get a dynamic buy wheel, I'm getting an error message that says error whilst in, I think you can see that question there, subscript out of range.
Either you're asking it to do something that it can't do, or it can't find something. Do you have OneDrive active on your computer?
Okay.
If you have OneDrive active on your computer, it's very good at pinching your SolarFire files, and SolarFire can't find them. If you go to my YouTube channel, you'll find a video about managing OneDrive, and it's not mine, it's one I found somewhere that covers it extremely well. Version 9.1, when it's publicly available, will get around that. You can save your charts anywhere, save your files anywhere. Charts aren't a problem. You can have charts anywhere you want, but the things the program uses to do things. The other reason you could have that is if you've designed a page and told it to find a specific file, and then that file has been lost or corrupted, the program can't find it.
Fantastic. Is there a fast way to toggle between house systems on an open chart?
No, I don't think there is. There is a way to toggle between tropical and sidereal up here, between geo and helio, and by true or mean nodes. And that's, you can see it's changing as I'm clicking it. I don't think you can change the house system on a chart that's already open.
Okay.
Check the help on that. There are still some things I don't know.
Thank you very much. I had someone saying here I had to download SolarFire 8. Will it still be beneficial to take the course?
Yes.
Wonderful. And you let me know how many more questions you want to go with.
No, I'm okay. I'm fine.
Wonderful. Let's see here. Are the chart wheels that you designed / added also available for download somewhere?
Oh, the ones I created, you'd only be able to get from me.
Yeah, I was trying to work the question out in my head. Let's see.
The ones that Steffi has designed are on the ESOTech website. That's ESOTech, ESOTECH.com.au. It's in help or support or something, and then you'll find tech help and things like that. Why don't we just have a look? Gosh, it's slow, isn't it? Okay, support, technical support, SolarFire extras. That's where the wheel with degrees and signs, like the 360-degree numbers, the financial people like that. There's your patch updates and downloads, and there's a list of the latest versions. If you try, the question about something being out of range, if you're trying, and I forget what she was trying to do with it, but if you're trying to run a dynamic report and you've got things like the vertex and the anti-vertex and the part of fortune as points, you're just going to blow the mind, because you're asking it to do millions of calculations, and it moves every instant. So that will tell you out of range, or it could be that a page is missing or some file is missing or corrupted. You can run a repair on SolarFire. Go to your original install, whether it's the download file or the USB or the CD. Carry on as if you're going to install it. Don't uninstall, just put it in and run it, and it will come up to the help window. Carry on, it'll give you some options. One will be uninstall, one will be repair, one will be modify or add other things. Click repair and it will repair. But if you've designed a page and something's not right or something's not where the program's looking for it, it can throw you up one of those pearly ones.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I will apologize, we won't be able to get to every question, but if you'd like to sign up for the workshop, this is going to be the place that you can have more, because there's so much to go through. This is going to be a place to go. Let's see, we'll take a few more here. In reports, how to add a field when the field is not showing up as an option. For example, a report with major aspects between planets, how to add the midpoint.
You'd have them as just, I don't know if it would run it in the report, but if you've got them as displayed points, and when you set up the report, you've told it you want to use that set. You'll remember when we were in dynamic, we had over here the option for extra points for transits and extra points for natal. That would probably be the way to do it. Now, when you run your report, you can change your headings. I didn't even look what I'm doing. Okay, you can change your headings by right-clicking in the heading and adding more headings. And you can move the order of the heading of the columns by moving up or down. And you can sort either by clicking on the heading or by clicking on the sort button. I haven't actually run a report with midpoints. I might be talking through my hat. But I should imagine that if you've got midpoints as displayed and transiting points, you would, or display points anyway, you would get them in your report. Does that answer that question?
Wonderful. Thank you very much. We've had a couple of questions here. I'm trying to work out what they are. Can we see the prenatal option in the first column? I think this must be as you were going through before. Forgive me if you've answered that one before.
Prenatal, you can put it as a displayed, as a user-defined point or an extra ring point, and I don't see any reason why it wouldn't show up in the report if it was there.
Okay, thank you. And we'll take 3 more, and then we are over time. I apologize. Does excuse me, does 2-wheel chart, natal and transit charts report give us transit report? Is that right? Am I reading that out right? Okay.
Yes. Your reports reflect what you're actually looking at.
Wonderful. The available asteroids are a separate option, question mark, because I have seen a tutorial with a lot of extra asteroids that I can't see. Thank you.
Yes, it is available, and it's available from my website, which is astrotech.com.au, and there's thousands of them.
So many. Wonderful. Let's take this last question for the evening. My solar maps will show a report for parens, but not paren lines. Hoping tech support can help me with this. Sent over the data generated from support, but it's weird.
Have you got paren lines turned on as an option in your maps? If it really is a tech problem, go to help, request help by email. In your lines here, your params are down here. If you've got no params, it won't show you any. You can show params of particular planets or customize them and show lots of them. If it really is a technical problem, you want to go to help, get technical support by email, and you want to, it'll generate all the information of your setup. If you've got a computer-based email program, it will open an email with all that data in it. If you're using a web-based email, open an email and then paste, and that information will be copied and you can paste it into the email and send it to SOTech if you're in Australia, New Zealand, or Astro. It'll come up with the right address anyway. It's support@SOTech or support@ALAB.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. It seems like there's a few common questions here in terms of people having buggy software of late. So
if you've got software problems and it really is a software problem, go to support. We're certainly not in the realm of fixing technical problems here today.
So in your opinion, do you think the new updates will help flesh all of that out? And
it might, if it's been buggy. Actually, running a repair might help you more. Just make sure you haven't lost things to OneDrive. I know we keep harping on it, but it is a major problem. Find a graphic, you have to restart the program to do another. I'm not sure. The tech one about the graphic ephemeris wants to go to check help. I will try the OneDrive. It did not work 2 years ago. Well, my video works. It was, I haven't checked it for about 3 weeks, so just try it again. Let me know if anything's theirs that's not working.
Wonderful. Thank you. Well, we are over time. So Rhonda, again, thank you so much on behalf of Kepler College for sharing this fantastic demonstration. And thank you all for tuning in today. Again, you can watch the replay on our YouTube channel.
There's just one. Callum, sorry, there's just one that I'd like to answer. Okay. Sarah's got a problem with testing out her natal chart. The sun is in the wrong house and Aries is on the ascendant. You're probably using a different zodiac or house sign system, or zodiac system or house system. So just check that what you're doing there. If you've got a 0 Aries ascendant house system chosen, 0 Aries will be on the ascendant on all your charts, all on that east point on all of your charts.
Thank you so much. This is one of these webinars where we could go on for about 5 or 6 hours. So sign up for the workshop. Sign up for the workshop. Wonderful. Well, thank you all for coming today. Again, you can watch the replay on our YouTube channel. Of course, you can take screenshots and go at half speed, go at your pace. And thank you all for tuning in all around the world. And Rhonda, especially for you for coming at such, did you get up at like 5 in the morning or something?
Yeah, I got up at 5 this morning.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I don't know if you can
can't quite come out when you're presenting your pajamas. You have to get up and do a few things first.
If you can see all the hearts and the claps coming in.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Wonderful.
Bye-bye.
See you all next week. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks.